Shiny Tillet was assumed to have taken over the leadership of the George Street gang after his brother, Shelton Pinky Tillet, seen alongside him in white, was. But one had the sense that the man called Shiny never really embraced that leadership. And if he was the leader, it's only because he had that last name, synonymous with George Street.
Government stupid unit. That's why I think GSU a stupid unit. Not afraid that squad, Dean Barrow that squad.
I was sitting on my veranda, and then I saw a young man came in full black, stood behind him, took out a gun, and started fire a shot.
The indiscriminate gunfire left Tillet mortally injured when a round from the salvo penetrated his temple. Deputy Commander of the Dangriga Police Station, Assistant Superintendent Mark Stevens, confirmed that the alleged assailant, identified as Nicolas Swazo, had also been injured during the incident. Another person had indeed produced a licensed firearm and shot Swazo in the back. It seems to be a long-standing feud between the George Street Gang and the Southside Gangsters, SSG. Bitter rivals with a history of enmity that goes back several years. Swazo's profile includes his affiliation with SSG.
He's originally from Dangriga town, but we believe we are getting information that he had migrated to Belize City, has been living in Belize City for some years, and have some association with one of the Southside gang.
August 26, 2015, Swazo walked free after being on remand for the senseless Mennonite businessman Gwendolyn Reimer, who was shot and killed in 2011 during a robbery at his place of business on the Philip Golson Highway. Tillet, on the other hand, was one of several known leaders within the hierarchy of the George Street Gang. He rose to prominence as head of the criminal outfit when Shelton Pinky Tillet, the then leader of George Street, was dispatched in a hail of bullets almost 4 years ago to date. Shiny, however, seemingly maintained a low profile as boss of one of Belize's most notorious street gangs.
Why they got no charge sheet?
I forgot charge sheet for hanging for
How
George
long
Street.
you on the streets? I don't got no charge sheets.
I forgot charge sheet for hanging for George Street. Think I play a real thing. I play a thing.
That point that a single gunman came walking from the direction King Street and opened fire upon the two young men who were sitting on the stairs at that location. The police have retrieved 15 expended 9mm shells, and both persons were hospitalized.
The George Street Gang is a feared blood-affiliated street gang based on George Street in the south side of Belize City. Under the leadership of brothers Sheldon Pinky Tillet and Gerald Shiny Tillet Sr., the gang rose to prominence in the 2000s for its ruthless tactics and dominance over local turf. Pinky Tillet's assassination in 2012, allegedly carried out by rival gangsters of the Taylor's Alley gang, sparked a wave of violent retaliation across Belize City. Just a year later, the discovery of 4 George Street gang members with slashed throats was widely attributed to Belize's gang suppression unit, further escalating tensions. George Street Gang's primary rival has long been the Taylor's Alley gang, located nearby in central Belize City. The animosity between the two blood sets was deeply personal and deadly, particularly following Pinky's deletion. The George Street Gang has also clashed with other groups, including the Southside Gangsters, over territory and control of drug corners. In a surprising twist during the early 2010s, the George Street Gang briefly allied with the Ghost Town Crips, forming an unusual but powerful partnership that controlled much of the street-level action for a time. The gang also participated in several government-mediated truces, most notably a 2010 ceasefire involving the Crawl Road Gang. But these efforts were often short-lived. Criminally, the George Street Gang is involved in drug trafficking, extortion, and armed robbery. Their members are known for brazen shootings, ambushes, and attacks on rivals and civilians alike. Domino parlors and street corners within their turf often become scenes of bloodshed. The Belizean authorities, especially the Gang Suppression Unit, have targeted the George Street Gang heavily, arresting many of its members and leaders in crackdowns throughout the 2010s. Despite these efforts, the George Street Gang legacy continues to shape life on the south side, where residents still live under the threat of violence, extortion, and gang warfare.